Write a deeply detailed, expansive, and immersive narrative that unfolds in a world where imagination, perception, and memory intersect in unexpected ways, focusing on a central character who begins to question the boundaries between reality and illusion. The story should follow the protagonist from a seemingly ordinary moment and steadily guide them into situations that reveal layers of meaning beneath the surface of their life, encouraging the reader to feel the gradual shift from familiar circumstances to the mysterious forces surrounding them. Throughout the narrative, emphasize the internal thought processes of the protagonist as they encounter contradictions between what they believe, what they observe, and what they feel. Create an atmosphere that blends emotional depth, subtle tension, and philosophical inquiry, allowing the reader to sense the transformation of the character's understanding over time. Begin with the protagonist engaging in a routine activity that feels grounded in everyday life, such as walking through a marketplace, working late at an office, observing a quiet neighborhood, or traveling on public transportation. Use vivid sensory descriptions to make this environment feel tangible and lived in, capturing the smells, textures, sounds, and sights with clarity. Slowly introduce small peculiarities that the protagonist notices, details that don't seem important at first but linger in their mind. These could be slight distortions in perception, unfamiliar symbols appearing repeatedly, brief conversations overheard that seem oddly personal, or fleeting glimpses of figures who vanished before the protagonist can properly focus on them. As the protagonist continues through the day, deepen their introspection. Allow them to reflect on past experiences, ambitions, insecurities, fears, and memories that surface without invitation. These reflections should not present themselves as simple exposition but as emotional currents shaping the protagonist's reactions to what is happening around them. The story should explore how memory itself can feel unreliable, how recollections shift when scrutinized, and how the protagonist struggles to distinguish between what is remembered, what is imagined, and what is entirely new. Introduce encounters with secondary characters who appear at moments of uncertainty and offer cryptic, philosophical, or strangely comforting insights. These characters may be strangers, acquaintances, or people from the protagonist's past, each contributing to the atmosphere of subtle mystery. Their conversations should feel layered, where the literal words hold meaning on the surface but suggest deeper implications beneath. These interactions should leave the protagonist uncertain whether these individuals are guiding them, warning them, or simply mirroring their internal confusion. Gradually expand the world around the protagonist, revealing places that appear familiar yet altered in small but undeniable ways. Buildings may seem taller than before, streets stretch longer than memory allows, or familiar routes branch into unfamiliar alleys. Natural elements such as shadows, wind patterns, reflections in water or glass, or the behavior of animals might take on symbolic significance. Every detail should slowly contribute to the protagonist's growing sense that their reality is shifting, not violently or abruptly, but subtly and continuously, as though they're drifting into a different layer of existence. Allow the protagonist's emotional state to evolve as they confront these changes. They may feel curiosity, fear, excitement, or even a strange sense of acceptance. The narrative should portray their struggles to maintain composure, to rationalize what they're experiencing, and to reconcile the contradictions between the desire for stability and their fascination with the unknown. Use internal monologue to depict their reasoning, self-reflection, and the increasing difficulty they have in trusting their own senses. As the story deepens, incorporate symbolic motifs that repeat throughout the narrative, objects, patterns, sounds, or gestures that gain meaning as the protagonist encounters them again and again. These motifs should create connections between events that initially appear unrelated, subtly guiding the protagonist toward revelations about themselves and their world. The motifs might evoke themes such as identity, transformation, loss, longing, or the fragile nature of perception. Introduce moments of near revelation where the protagonist feels on the verge of understanding the truth behind their experiences, only to find the answer slipping away. These near revelations should heighten the tension and deepen the emotional resonance of the journey. They can be triggered by dreams that feel more vivid than waking life, by sudden clarity during everyday actions, or by unexpected encounters with characters who seem to possess knowledge they refuse to fully explain. Develop a complex emotional landscape as the protagonist navigates these experiences, blending fear, wonder, melancholy, hope, and determination. Show how the protagonist alternates between resisting the unfolding mystery and embracing it, illustrating the internal conflict between familiarity and change. Allow this emotional complexity to guide the pacing of the narrative, creating moments of stillness, intensity, and contemplation. As the protagonist moves further along their path, reveal subtle hints about the deeper structure of the world they inhabit. Suggest that reality might be layered, interconnected, or influenced by unseen forces. However, avoid offering straightforward explanations. Instead, provide clues that the protagonist pieces together through intuition, memory, and sensory perception. This gradual discovery process should feel organic and grounded in the protagonist's emotional journey. Introduce a pivotal moment where the protagonist encounters a person, place, or phenomenon that dramatically shifts their understanding. This event should not be explosive or chaotic but profoundly transformative, as though the protagonist suddenly perceives a hidden pattern that had always been present. Describe this moment with rich sensory detail and emotional depth, showing how the protagonist feels both overwhelmed and enlightened, recognizing a truth that defies conventional logic. Continue the narrative by deepening the implications of this revelation. Show how the protagonist begins to interpret earlier experiences in a new light, and how this reinterpretation alters their actions and decisions. Allow the protagonist to explore the consequences of their newfound understanding by engaging with familiar environments in unfamiliar ways, seeing symbolism in ordinary objects, or forming connections with characters they had previously dismissed. The protagonist should face challenges that test their resolve to follow this path of discovery. These challenges may be psychological, emotional, symbolic, or situational rather than physical.